Hello, beautiful souls. How are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing week. And today we are going to be doing some deep work. I have some very important information to share with you. Downloads that I am receiving in regards to the importance of this challenge and some key elements that you and I are going to be looking at. So let's jump right in because there's a lot that we want to cover. I want to thank all of you. I want to actually pause and I really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for your love, your support. um, the amount of love and support that I receive from you guys is just it's overwhelming. It's so incredible. And to hear that you guys are receiving support from the work that we're doing, these meditations, I mean, to me, that's really, really special. And the numbers of the many of you that are joining in these challenges and doing the work, it's exciting. So I just want to thank you so much for your beautiful work, for your compassion, for your love, for your dedication to the internal work and the transformation that you're doing. It is an honor to collaborate with you in all of this. So I guess without further ado, I want to get started. And I'm going to begin sharing with you some information that's really relevant to our time. So, one of the things that we're dealing with at this time in this transition of March is we are looking at the utilization of our life force. And what carries that life force is the electrical charges of energy that run through our body. When our bodies are out of balance, it's really difficult for us to hold the energy in our space. Okay, when the body comes into balance, it's easy for energy to flow through the body. But there's an element to this that's really essential because we are more water than anything else. And that is the fact that the amount of water that we hold in our body is essential for how energy is moving through this system. So if we are not aware of maintaining hydration, number one, we are causing a lot of imbalances in our body. Number two, if we're not able to transmute low density energy, we slow down and we constrict the ability of that life force to move through the body. And so a lot of people that are not hydrated, that don't maintain natural flow of water in their body, regeneration, to allow for regeneration of the cells of the body, it really brings the entire body out of balance. And so one way, let me just turn this off real quick. One way that we can begin to change that is by focusing on the amount of water that we are drinking, making sure that we are not only being mindful of the water we're doing, but intentionally drinking and charging the water with our intention, bringing what we want into that water. Love, number one. Expansion, consciousness, whatever it is that you need, you charge into that water. Nourishment, healing. We the concept of becoming an alchemist is not only about the internal. We also become alchemists of the external realm. And this is where things get very interesting, that your mind, as you activate the higher faculties and as you begin to activate the higher dimensions of your body, as high as you can go, you begin to have a mastery over the physical. Because you are able to master the molecules and the way that information is delivered, processed through your body, you have the ability of accessing and working with information externally as well. And these are some of the things that I have been sharing over the years, some techniques of how to use life force to enhance certain experiences. So today, what I want to talk to you about is the mechanics of how we master the physical. And the purpose of today's conversation is, especially because of the transformation that we're going through in this month of March. We just had a massive full moon a couple days ago. So a lot of you are really feeling an immense need to completely let go of old programs. Many of you are feeling the need to completely regenerate the body and, more importantly, come into your power. But for some, it will be difficult to come into your power because you still have some subconscious energy constrictions in the body. So today I want to help you learn how to move that, how to master that. And literally, what are these synapses, the communication between the mind and the body and this electromagnetic organism? How do they function in order to allow us to create this holographic network? Okay, so let's jump right in. I want to say hello to everybody that's in the chat with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. It is such an honor to connect with you guys. And let me just go ahead and open this really quickly so I can share with you. Oh, by the way, some people were telling me, I hope you get better soon. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm 100% fine. There's nothing wrong with my health. Just a couple of days ago was just very sleepy because I had a very, very long day working healing sessions. And at the end of the day, I had like a 3-hour show with Dave Scott on SOR, which was amazing. So to do the video after that was a lot. So I wanted to thank you for joining me. And I got so many messages from you guys that you liked that meditation. And I was kind of surprised because, I was really channeling some information towards the end of that. And I was really in alignment with what was coming in. So I'm glad that you guys picked up on that and you also resonated with that. All right, let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen with you. I want to show you a little bit about how these synapses are moving in the body, how we are transmitting information. So let's do a quick talk about the emotions. And why do we talk about emotions? Because emotions are the language of vibrational frequency. And the way that the human body transmits vibrational frequency is through the electromagnetic biochemical systems of the body, this holographic network. Every single part of the brain is processing different kind of data, okay? The anterior cingulate cortex, which is this section right here, it's involved in assigning emotions to internal and external stimuli. Okay, this is responsible for vocalizations associated with our emotional states. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the parts of the brain, and then we're going to work with them proactively in our meditation. Okay. Learning the anatomy of your body is one of the most amazing tools that you can use for healing and for self-awareness. When I began to, after my experience in 2013, my contact experience, when those abilities were activated in me, and I began to explore my own body through meditation, utilizing this vision, it was just unbelievable watching how emotions would trigger different colors of energy in my body. Okay. And of course, I would experience that by watching others as well. And anytime somebody would come into fear, you could just see how the energy would accumulate in certain organs. You can see other areas constricting, other areas expanding. And even though I knew in depth about the chakra system, this was on a whole deeper level, not only somatic, but psychological and biophysical, the biophysical response of our chakras. We think our chakras are just imaginary energy systems, but they are deeply integrated in the processes of energy movement in the body. So this is why I want to share this with you. Now, the posterior cingulate cortex is the region responsible for the recall of emotional memories. And it is stimulated when we daydream or recall past experiences, okay, right here. So this is super important place because this is the technology of the physical body, which allows us access into the interdimensional realms. Okay, this part of your brain here is interconnected with the holographic network into the morphogenetic field. Okay, so literally, this part of the brain is the one that begins to communicate interdimensionally with simultaneous timelines within the synapses and the electromagnetic information and data that is emitted and accessed through this energy point here in the brain. We can actually enter into this is, of course, okay, so the third eye is the pineal gland, but actually the third eye is more than just the pineal gland. It is a complex system that utilizes many parts of the brain because the intuitive system, the intuitive organ, our intuitive ability is both physical and non-physical. And the systems in the brain that access the non-physical database of information is essentially this main part of our brain. Okay, so this is, so when we daydream, so when you're daydreaming, when you're essentially in hypnosis, right? That's what happens when you daydream. When you're in hypnosis, this allows you to access this memory. In this space is embedded past lives, future potential timelines, and everything that you can and have the potential of becoming as written within your DNA, your earth DNA, but also your physical DNA and your multidimensional DNA. Okay, it's all access here. Okay, but of course, we're using more than one system to access that database. Okay, so the parahippocampal gyrus, I'm not sure if that's the right way. This area is responsible for storing emotional memories and visual and auditory processing. It helps us interpret what we're feeling based on the context. Okay, so this is the area in which those of you that have auditory psychic abilities, okay, that you are clairaudient, this is the part of the brain that becomes highlighted when you are accessing this information. What will happen is the pineal gland expands, activates, and of course, through the transmutation, alchemical transmutation of the chrism liquid of activation of higher consciousness, you can cultivate a higher rates of vibrational frequency through this organ. Okay, through the development of gray matter in the brain, you can, what the importance of gray matter, and this is not something I've spoke of before, but the importance of gray matter is that you are able to create a wall that is a transducer. The more gray matter that you have in your brain, the more you are able to transduce information. Okay, this is how important it is. And this the process of transduction of information is essentially the alchemical process. That's why it's so important. Okay. The fluid that we are talking about is essentially the chrism. Okay, the christic. When we alchemize our life force, we have the ability through the alchemical process to create something that is like an essential, like an oil. Essentially, it's a substance. It is a liquid, which is the actual gold. Okay, this is the gold, and actually within that, there are particles of monoatomic gold, which are produced from the body. The body is producing this gold substance of information. Gold is one of the most transducive metals that we have. Okay, so in that same way, we produce this bioelectrical substance that is the most transductive in our physical bodies. And we require a transductive energy in order to be able to move this multidimensional body at higher spin rates, higher vibrational frequency, so that you create this ability to expand out of this implosion process. So when you go through the ascension process, dark night of the soul, that contraction process creates this massive transduction. Okay, and it's like it functions like an implosion, from which now creates this life force that allows you to navigate into that 0 point, into higher dimensional levels. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. The purification of this body, of this system, essentially allows us to access into higher ranges. The hippocampus is responsible for making memories. It can help us to regulate our emotions by allowing us to compare events to similar past experiences. So remember when I talk about the filing cabinet that we have in our brain with all the information that we have experienced in this lifetime? And so this is it. This is the filing cabinet. It's the hippocampus. And the hippocampus essentially is the one that stores data. But I want to remind you that this hippocampus stores data 360 degrees around this entire organism. The entire body is recording data. Okay. And the information that we are storing from this body 360 degrees is essentially being memorized here as this holographic memory system. It's self-organized throughout the entire body, not just in this tiny little system here. This is just the processor. The hippocampus is the processor. It allows us to access the information which is interconnected into all of the organs, into the nervous system, of the body. So that's why when we have heartbreak, for example, this is the area of the chest that gets affected, for example. And many of you hold sorrow of past relationship, divorces, all the things that you've experienced here from your heart that don't allow you to love or receive love or give love, have a biophysical side effect inside of the organs, the way that energy flows, the way blood flows through the veins, and the nervous system, the way information flows through the nervous system. So as I mentioned, when we hold on to these traumatic emotional thought forms, they create imbalance in the physical. So the physical will now store that data it'll crystallize into a lower density that will affect the movement of life force through this body, causing further illness. Okay, so that's super important. The hypothalamus is the region that regulates hormones and controls the autonomic nervous system in response to stimuli. It can trigger the release of insulin, increase heart rate, or redirect blood flow. Okay, so the hippocampus is super, super important because it manages the hormones. And this tiny little section of our brain is actually one of the most powerful. And it becomes activated when a third layer of our body. It's deeply interconnected with the third layer of our body. Okay. The third layer of our body essentially is the emotional, the second and third layer primarily. These second and third layers of the body, it really, really causes the hormonal system to activate, especially when we are developing our sexual organs during development. Okay, so when we cultivate these sexual organs during development, remember that the sexual organ is multiple parts of the body. Okay, it's a sexual organ, but also the main source cord through the body that affects your throat as well. Okay, so these hormonal systems, which are deeply interconnected to the endocrine system, are absolutely one with the information that we are processing through our chakras. Okay, the information that we're processing through the chakras is essentially filtered through the hypothalamus, which then trigger the chemical responses that we have in the body. Okay, so super important. The amygdala is the small structure that is responsible for detecting fear and preparing our bodies for an emergency. Stimulation of this area causes anxiety and defensive behavior. Now, another name for the amygdala is the reptilian brain. Okay, so this is the evolutionary product of the genetic modification of our bloodlines that include the reptilian system. The reptilian complex, which is the system of survival mechanisms, are embedded within our DNA. So anyone that says that you don't have reptilian DNA within you, it doesn't work that way, because if you come into the physical body, because of the nature of this multiversal, cosmic, multicosm organism, we have the ability to connect to many multidimensional layers. And the amygdala, by the way, is very deeply connected to the transmutation process. It allows us to access higher dimensional levels when we learn how to master the amygdala, okay, which means that we bring it into its neutral state. It completely unlocks and expands the functions of this brain. When the amygdala is hyperactive and we are in a constant state of fear, anxiety, terror, disconnect from source, it literally creates a blockage, a bottleneck in the way that source is embodied in this physical body. This tiny little part of our brain is one of the main reasons why it's difficult for us to embody source. Okay? So that's super, super important that we understand this function of the brain with our physical body. Okay? The center of motion, which of course is the brain, it's connected to all the stimuli, generates physical and emotional responses. Well, we know that. But as we know, now I'm going to show you the multidimensional aspect of this, is that the brain is the center processing system, but the physical body functions like a router, and it functions 360 degrees. As I mentioned before, information is being absorbed through the pores of your body. Your skin is your largest organ, and then going into the flesh, into the nervous system of the body, into the muscles, into the bones. And every layer of the body is a deeper density. It's also self-organized, just like the frequencies of chakra. The density of the substance that makes up our bodies have their own frequencies. Okay, the skin has its own frequency. The muscle fascia of the body has its own frequency. The organs have their own frequency. Each one of the organs process their own frequency. Okay, so that means that they are responsible for processing different layers of our multi-layered interactions at every moment. This is why being in the present moment is so important, because when we're not in the physical body, fully grounded, we are not able to be aware of the process of transmission. What does that mean? Okay. Now, really quickly, the septal nuclei, this is a structure located near the hypothalamus, and these are linked with feelings of social connection. They are particularly active when we have positive feeling towards others, such as unconditional trust or empathy. This is one of the most important parts of our body, okay? It is this is the muscle that we are learning how to exercise when we embody unconditional love, unconditional trust or empathy with ourselves, number one, which then equates to the other, okay? So what does that mean? It is located right here, close to the pineal gland. Okay, so many of you that are familiar with the transmutation process, when you activate transmutation process, you have the ability of accessing higher frequency emotions. This is the whole point. The awakening and the Kundalini awakening is just phase one of this ascension process. After that, it's the cultivation of your higher vibrational frequency. And the ability to cultivate that higher vibrational frequency is essential. Okay. It is essential, and it is available through this transmutation process. Okay. So that is extremely important. So now let's talk about the process of transmission. This is the most important part of today's conversation, because I want you to understand, how does someone process the information? How is it that we are gods? How are we creators? How do we affect the co-creation process? Okay, so let's take a look at this beautiful little zoomed in image. Okay, so chemical messengers, these little pink, when the nerve impulses reach a synapses, it cannot jump directly to the next neuron. Instead, it triggers the vessels, larger pink spheres, to release neurotransmitters, these little small pink spheres. Okay, mind the gap. The neurotransmitters diffuse across a gap known as the synaptic cleft to reach the next neuron via receptors. Okay. The transmission, when neurotransmitters bind to the receptor, they cause the neurons' ion channels to open, letting ions, these small little yellow spheres, flow in, triggering the next nerve impulse. Okay, so this is literally how the data inside of these little chemical messengers, the chemical messengers are released again by the stimulation, internal and external stimulation, that then trigger any of these processes in the multi-layered processes in the brain, which then direct either the chemicals in the body to respond. Okay. However, the chemicals in the body will not respond until this part of the body is working. Our emotions can lead to changes in our bodies, such as the feeling of butterflies in your stomach, your heart racing, and so on. All of those side effects, all of those physical reactions are actually created and distributed through this process here. Now, the amazing part of this process here is that in this little gap, this synaptic cleft, there is the ability for the man to become the master of this physical body. And all of these chemical messengers can be anything. So let's talk about what are the chemicals. They can be emotions, they can be pain, they can be information about things. So I just want to quickly refresher on what does that mean exactly. Okay, what does it mean to have a chemical information? Let's do a really quick refresher course on that, because essentially we are talking about here. Let me open all of these images in picture so it's easy for us to look through all of them. Can I do that or no? Okay. Okay, so here you go. So these are the chemistry of life, right? So remember, when we have anxiety, we have dopamine. When we're in fight or flight, we have noradrenaline or epinephrine. When we're in depression, we have dopamine, serotonin. When we're schizophrenic, we have dopamine. Okay, happiness, serotonin. Love, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Okay, so remember, these are the main chemicals that we are utilizing in the physical body when we are triggering certain emotional responses. And we've talked about this in depth in other presentations, but essentially every single one of these, I'm just going to take one, for example, dopamine, which is the addictive reward chemical. So anytime that we feel something that we like that makes us feel good, so these are people that have drug addictions, or feel good emotions, instant gratification, for example, which is why it's been studied, the addiction to cell phones and social media is actually designed to trigger dopamine responses within you so that you are addicted. Okay, so to maintain you in a state of deep hypnosis, these chemicals are produced, and the manipulation and the engineering of the stimulation of these chemicals is essentially how you turn humans into puppets. Okay, so if you understand the biochemical way to make a human respond, you can manipulate them without the human even understanding what's happening to them, which is what happens with with music, with the music industry, right? The music industry functions in a way where essentially certain hertz of music stimulate different parts of our chemical responses. For example, sex hormones can be released by the low vibrational frequency of music that begins to stimulate sexual response, that very primal part. Essentially, it plays with both the sexual and the amygdala, which is the reptilian brain of primal desires, needs, survival. That's a lot of lyrics are designed to be in survival mode. Even love songs are about breakups or cheating or, things like this. There's no clear understanding of emotions at a very early age. They're all inversions of the use of emotions. And this is what we feed our children. Okay, so these become extremely addicted, okay, addictive, and they create these neurological responses, which then result in the synapse process of how we are allowing certain things to affect us or not. Okay, so this is where we come back here to look at this, because what happens here in these beautiful little, in this gap and in these beautiful little opening gateways here, you see these little vortex. They're literally like little vortex gateways, which are we are able to open and close. We are able to accept the information and process it through the body when we want to. Okay, this is the amazing thing about the physical body, that this is how it works in hypnotherapy. This is how it works with drugs that come into the body. And this is, of course, as a product of many placebo tests that have been done with medications, that, emotions that are stimulated, like laughter therapy, or, feel good, or if you tell someone, if you take this pill, it's going to cure you. And then, they do a controlled test to compare through the placebo test, that, they have similar results. The people that received the placebo medication were able to recover as well as the people that took the medication. And sometimes even better, because most of these medications and chemical things have side effects, right? So the power of the body over the mind, the power of the mind over the body is completely, completely beautifully designed into our biochemical, bioelectrical system. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to take us to this topic today, because when we talk about healing ourselves and we talk about working with the emotional trauma that we are dealing with right now, how do we stop having the patterns of addiction to pain and suffering? Okay. And there are two main areas that really come up for this month. Okay. It is looking at the compassion of authenticity, and it's looking at the suffering that results from having false joy. And this will take me to the second part of what I want to share with you, because every emotion, aside from the way that we look at and how we process information, every emotion has a certain shape, it has a crystallization, it has a form. Okay. And the form of these emotions affects the way is recorded through the body, because it's a biochemical system. Let me look up something here. I want to share something with you. Okay. Because we are mostly water, the way that we process these emotions and the way that it affects us is through this runway network system of fluid information. Okay. The chemicals that are released in the body are the ones that are going to send the neurotransmitters to the parts of the body and to the brain to respond. And if that system becomes clogged up or out of balance, we are producing more chemicals than other, which take the entire body out of balance, causing illness, pain, all kinds of things. Okay. So here's the thing. How do we alchemize these processes of authenticity? What does it mean to be authentic? Give me one moment to pull up what I want to share with you, because I want to share what this looks like here. Let's see. How's everybody doing, guys? Any questions so far? Any comments? I would love to hear what you have to say, what you've experienced. Let me know if you have experienced anything similar. We're just going to take a look at the way information crystallizes, water crystallizes. This is really important because I have a point here, which is about the waveform of emotional data. And there is a difference between you processing authentic, true emotions and having false emotions. And this is what's coming up right now for this time, that we are being challenged in many ways in order to come into our most authentic self, because the authentic self is an expression of truth that allows you to really dive and co-create. It's the intention that actually co-creates. So if you don't have your intention in alignment with your actions, it's going to be very difficult for you to manifest things. Okay, so let me come over here to this and share. I cannot find the one that I want. Okay, so yeah, so many of you are very familiar with this image, right, about the crystallization of emotions and how they crystallize in water. So what I want to show you about this is that the geometric shapes that manifest as a result of these emotions, these are structures of information. Okay, and as you can see, they are very organized. They function like fractals. They are produced in fractal form, fractal design, because fractals are the shape of the universe. This is how all universal information is patterned, self-organized into spiral, fractal-like patterns of information. And so the body has an intelligence that it creates fractals within the body. Okay. Now, when we experience trauma on the other side of this, we also end up with extremely distorted energy. Okay. Let me just open this really quick, just so I can show you this. That when we have oh darn. So, for example, in this example, the saying "you make me sick" makes a shape of a crystal that is completely distorted. Okay. So over here are the words that are being said. Wait, are you guys seeing this? No. Okay. So over here, these are the words that are being said. Can you guys see the picture or no? It's not showing up in my screen here. Just put a quick yes for me. There you go. Which screen are you guys seeing? I don't know what screen you're seeing. Okay, let's come over here. All right, so here we are. So this is the screen. Yeah, so this is Dr. Emoto's work. Yeah, here it is, guys. Thank you, Jaden. Thank you. It's going to update in just a moment. Here you go. Okay, so you guys, many of you are already familiar with this, but I really want you to understand, okay, that when the physical body is receiving this information, for example, "you make me sick, I will kill you." Okay, so we might be startled by hearing this word, but you will be surprised how many people feel profound anger towards themselves, a very deep anger. And I want you to check in to your emotions, that when you feel negative emotions, I want you to find the origin. You're going to find that a lot of times the origin of these emotions are actually they're directed towards ourselves. Because our level of consciousness, our level of self-awareness, we are inherently connected with truth and with love. When that is violated by something, okay, so the crystallization and the self-organization of fractals in your body, it's inherent, which means that balance and harmony is inherent to your human structure. It's inherent to your design. Your DNA is in perfect harmony. It isn't until you take it out of its balance by external stimulations that you allow to disrupt the natural flow of life force through the body. And subconscious belief systems are essentially what disrupt the way that energy is embedded in the physical body. So when you have negative emotions and you say them to yourselves, you feel them. When you feel them, you don't even need to vocalize, but if they are in your subconscious mind, they completely disrupt. Look at how that forms. It's just a big jumbled mess. So in this disorganized, out of non-harmonious system, this is how illness has a place to make home. Okay. And when we are dealing with, let's say that this person that feels this way has a smile on their face every day, the amount of suffering that this individual is experiencing is pretty profound, and it can be felt deeply by those of you that are empathic. You can pick up on people's emotions. They don't really even need to say it, but you can pick up on their emotions. And this is important because in our spiritual community, sometimes we believe that if we maintain happiness and joy, we're going to be okay. But I want to remind you that what lives in the subconscious mind is actually what's co-creating. And this month of March, when we are experiencing the entry of Pluto, Pluto is all about the subconscious mind. And it's not just for humans, it's collective. What's been hiding in the shadows, you will start to see all of these hidden things coming up. We're already seeing it. We're at the 9th of the month. We are already seeing it. And it's going to accelerate. Because why? Because of the state of this universe and the way that we are spinning, and we are reaching that photonic belt. But essentially, we are moving through this 13th dimensional system into a 22nd dimensional system. It's a higher octave of vibrational frequency. So all the humans that have suppressed subconscious that are still very low, crystallized in the body, will feel a major disruption physically. And I already have it. This week has been pretty chaotic, with a lot of people going through major physical crises, having emergencies. So many people this week trying to get emergency assistance because of this. I already knew that this was coming, but it's a lot. So what this means, and the thing about this, which is as a healer, or as someone that holds space, I don't like to use the word healer, as somebody that wants to hold space for another to come into their highest expression, karmically, we have to understand how healing functions. The human has to heal themselves because of the biochemical and bioelectrical systems of the body. The transmutation body of the body is the physics of enlightenment. So we need to learn how to transmute those deep subconscious programs that feed into this illness or imbalances in the body, because it gets very difficult to support another human in their healing process if they don't really believe in themselves, if they don't love themselves, if they don't care. If the attention of the human is externalized into the physical, into something else will heal me, it will work, okay? Because we're that powerful manifestors, they're going to have they'll be temporary, healing. But the key word there is temporary. And we want to have long-term wellness and balance. So the more that we are able to utilize and work with these systems in our physical body, the healthier, the more vibrant. Again, we come back to that crystallized, that perfect crystallized shape, which is embedded in us. We are aligning with nature, which allows those natural systems to function naturally. Okay. When we go into disharmony, we are going against the laws of nature. This is really important to understand in the awakening process, that anytime we go against nature, we are violating the laws, the natural laws of nature. So I want you to apply that same law to your difficult things that are happening in your life. Okay. Are you trying to keep a relationship that you weren't supposed to have? Okay. How was your process into that relationship? Were you violating yourself? Were you going against your own values? Were you going against your own boundaries? Were you going against your own truth? Okay. Uh, and this happens a lot. We lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves about our intentions. We lie to ourselves about our emotions. We suppress them. We put them away. We say, not right now, we'll deal with it later. And there is no later, because it is an accumulative system, because it's a holographic system. As I mentioned, the parts of the brain that help store that information into this multidimensional system essentially is embedding and storing that information until the crystallization. So you saw that big mess of energy. We essentially turn into that. Okay. And there is none of that geometry. Okay. So the sacred geometry that so many people talk about in the body, and I know a lot of you relate to the Merkaba. All right, the Merkaba being the light body that becomes activated in the body when we are able to move our chakra system, when we are able to move our lower and upper bodies, we are able to travel and navigate into higher dimensional planes during dream time. And the access into that dream time, if any of you were watching the shamanic conference, the access into these levels of dream time are actually what shamans use in order to reintegrate fractals of the human soul in order to create healing. Okay. So the light body, when it becomes this Merkaba system, it has the ability of accessing higher dimensional levels. This is what we want. Oh, am I sharing the right window? Yeah, I am. Okay. This is what we want, loves. We want to be able to activate the higher body. The higher body, which is only activated through the higher faculties. The integration of the lower, the middle, and the upper dantian, which are the mastery over the physical. And if you can master the physical by way of cultivating the higher faculties, you also have the ability of navigating and mastering other dimensions, because most of these other dimensions are functioning beyond the laws of physics of the earth. It now becomes navigation into the geometric structures through vibrational frequency. Okay, so as you enter into higher vibrational waves of your spin rate of your vortex of your physical body, you essentially, remember, this is the vortex spin of the body, you essentially become this tetrahedron, which allows you to travel into higher dimensions. And every dimension that you enter into essentially will be a different geometric structure. Okay, the atomic solids, the platonic solids are the ones that are defined into these dimensions. And we transform when we become white light, when we come into that neutral 0 point, we have the ability of navigating these planes infinitely. So this is what we want to do. And so the process of let's go back now, let's bring it back into the physical. The process of choosing here consciously through these transmitters, these neurotransmitters, what we are allowing to affect our physical body, medications, pharmaceuticals, injected pharmaceuticals of any kind, chemical substances of any kind, remember the placebo effect, can be neutralized, transmuted into this physical body. Artificial intelligence of any kind. Because this system is far more intelligent, it's far more complex And if we align with nature, the more that we grow the gray matter through the brain through meditation, the more that we activate the pineal gland, we begin to access into this higher dimensional, multidimensional aspect of ourselves. This is where the human becomes one with all, because it begins to travel into that higher dimensional plane. That's right, Teresa. The caduce, the snakes, right? The kundalini rising, all of which is represented through history by health, our highest health. We enter into our highest point of well-being. The body becomes a vortex. No illness can exist when we are spinning at a fast frequency. And one of the ways that you can heal your body when you are in a state of pain or in a state of illness coming on, there's so many ways that I teach you on this channel. Running energy, okay, really important. Why? Because the earth has a color green. Green is the color of earth. It is energy, life force, creative life, vitality. When animals get sick, they need to be going into nature, into the dark space to recover. Okay, but they are surrounded by the energy of earth, okay, which is green. And so when we're healing, and remember that the most vital organ in Chinese medicine is the liver, which processes this energy that is green. Okay, so when the body goes out of balance, hold on, let me open this for you. Okay, so remember when the main organs of the body, such as the liver, most important, when it's out of balance, okay, and it becomes out of balance by the suppression of anger. The suppression of anger blocks your ability to connect to nature, to connect to earth. So how do we heal somebody that has an imbalanced liver? Is you put them into nature. You put them in nature, you reconnect them with nature, which automatically begins to spin the vortex of their body, creating the Merkaba to allow them to flush out that anger. Okay, so and then of course we begin this system of healing within the body. All of the organs begin to work harmoniously again, maintaining balance. Anytime that an organ is removed from the body, it creates an imbalance in the body tremendously. Okay, because each one of these have different temperatures, different balances. Each one feeds each other. Okay, so the wood feeds the fire feeds the earth feeds the metal, metal feeds the water. Okay, each one of them work like this, and they are interconnected. Okay, water puts out the fire. So you just need to understand the elements. The elements are embedded and they're encoded in you because they are encoded in our DNA, because our DNA is encoded with the metrics of this earth. Okay, when we come to the earth, we align with the metrics of the earth in order to survive. This body, this temporary borrowed organism, pertains to this holographic organism, which is the earth, and we are essentially like a cell of this organism. Okay, so it's encoded and embedded with specific information to help it maintain its balance. Okay, so let's go into our meditation tonight, and let's go ahead and jump in. I want to go into the chat. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? I'm so happy to see you guys. Anybody have any questions, comments that you guys want to say? Wow, lots of people. Welcome. Karan, thank you so much. What do you mean by liquid? Yeah, so Karan, I was mentioning it's about the chrism that is created through the alchemical process, that gold. So all of the ancient cultures, if you look at the history of the Anunnaki, for example, the genetic modification of man into what we are, which is the combination of this interdimensional aspect and the physical to create the third, which is man, is essentially has encoded within them the ability of creating gold. Okay, so they say that they went from another planetary system in order to look for gold, but gold is essentially your DNA. It is the mutation process that occurs through the transmutation of life force that creates that gold energy within you. You are the gold. Your soul is essentially that. Okay. So Marilena, during expansion can be one period. During expansion, can one be in a period where, example, your clairvoyant isn't so strong, however, another ability like visual is activated? Yes, absolutely, Marilena. And so what happens is that, as I mentioned in the brain systems, different parts of the brain are responsible for different interdimensional abilities. Because they are interconnected to different processes of information. But remember that these are just one part of the runway of how information is processed through the body. Okay, this is the processing center of all this information. Because, for example, when information goes into hippocampus, you know, the hypothalamus lights up. Okay, and even the prior cingulate cortex lights up. Okay, so when we're navigating daydream memories of recall or past lives, not only does this area light up, but we're going into many of the areas that are lighting up. Because again, this is an interconnected network of holographic information. So that being said, as okay, here's another element. Our abilities, our multidimensional abilities are embedded and deeply connected to the layers of our multidimensional body. Okay, so for example, if you are only in your first three chakras, you probably won't even have intuition, right? So as you activate your chakras, as you open your third eye, you then have intuition. Step number one. As you begin to activate your 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th dimensional layer of your body, as you begin to reconnect the lower with the higher, integration of the lower and the higher dantian, all of your systems will begin to activate in your body. Okay, all of your systems. So the intuitive abilities are connected to up to the 10th dimensional layer of our body. That's our hearing, our sensing, our feeling, all of our senses. So whether all of the clairs, remember we talked about clairs. So all the clairs of the body become activated by the process of activation. The more that we interconnect these networks of the brain through meditation, because the gray matter allows for higher transduction, which creates a balance with the amygdala. It allows the amygdala to come into a neutral state. When the amygdala comes into neutral state, all of the other parts of the brain can function harmoniously. Okay. Now the amygdala is not the bad guy. This is the thing, that we absolutely require an amygdala, a balanced amygdala, to navigate the physical realm. But without this, it blocks all of the clairs. Okay, so that's step number one. You can activate all your intuitive abilities. You just have to learn how to regulate the amygdala, which is deeply interconnected with your nervous system. Okay, so several parts of the system work together to allow you to activate your intuitive abilities. Let me look for more questions here. You want to put your questions in capital letters for me? One of the most beneficial things I dropped during my awakening was my vast catalog of music and addiction to it. Awesome, Ice Lily. Totally did the same as well. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even hear some music anymore. It would hurt to hear it. Just vibrational frequency and the things that are being said are such an inversion to truth and cause so much suffering to men and women. Just wrong concepts of love, romance, you know, yourself, your image. You know, we're already trying to wake up consciousness in this world. So, you know, on top of it, having to listen to that, we think music is something to help you relax and enjoy, but you absolutely must pay attention to the lyrics so you understand what's coming in here. Creating more subconscious garbage that is difficult to unravel later. It creates such a confusion in your own emotions, your ability to identify your true, authentic emotions. One of the things that really shocked me during my awakening process is that I realized that the way I responded emotionally was actually something that I adopted. It wasn't even my true emotional response. It's like I learned, for example, from my mother to have these, loud reactions when something would happen. And it's like, why would I respond that way? That's not really how I want to respond to that. But I thought it was the right way. And, another interesting thing is that when you watch sitcoms or TV shows, you know, this is the indoctrination of man. This is the social engineering that is embedding into the subconscious mind by watching these shows. The way people talk to each other, it's always snarky. It's always this complete disregard for like conscious awareness of one another. And this is where we are learning how to relate with one another. Especially children, of course, which are highly impressionable, and then Disney, which is a whole other disastrous topic. How these children films really put deep seated traumas and fears and false ideas about everything into children. So you guys know that, but just be mindful that from that, the reason why I'm telling you that is take a look at how you respond to emotions and ask yourself, is this my authentic response? Or is this something I adopted? Do I agree with the adoption of my response to this emotion or this trigger? Okay. And then if it's not, who are you? Change it. This is the best way to get to know who you are. Grandmaster UV, welcome. Karan says, you agree dopamine is totally bad for you? No, none of the chemicals are bad for us. All the chemicals are part of our system. We just need to learn how to utilize them for what they're for when they're needed. Okay, we can't be addicted to one chemical or another. It's like everything. Balance and harmony in the body is required. Ice Lily, a wonderful best teacher. Thank you so much, Ice Lily. Thank you very much. Samantha says, there was one time I saw a fractal art between my third eye. It was moving continuously and was very precise. Awesome, Samantha. Another thing I want to share is that, DMT is naturally created by the brain. It's a substance that we naturally create by the brain in order to enter into higher states of consciousness. Okay. And this, I want to remind you that DMT is a drug which is utilized in our world today for people that want to reach those states. But we are able to produce that naturally. And I am a huge supporter of you activating DMT naturally, not chemically. Because when you activate it chemically, it doesn't ignite all of the parts of the brain that require to heal, restructure, create new neural pathways in the brain. When we create neural pathways, that's integration. Integration means new neural pathways. Okay. If you're not creating new neural pathways, you're not integrating. And you create new neural pathways by replacing old programs with deconstructive and inverted programs or destructive programs with productive programs. Okay. Programs that are constructive and that are co-creative, and that requires the entire learning. That's actually the learning and the embedding, the crystallization that the body needs in order to integrate the many systems. So I am not a terrible fan of these DMTs, but I do see the value in using them for people that have deep psychological issues that are a result of deep fragmentation from the body. There are many uses that we can, and people that are in deep depression, for example, can utilize some of these in microdoses in order to access higher dimensional layers and wake up the spirit. Right? This is what shamans utilize ayahuasca for and all of these plant medicines in order to reconnect the body quickly into the soul into the body, open those runways. But the work has to be done. The integrative work has to be done, which is the creation of that integration. And also remember that the chrism isn't created by those chemical induced substances. Not even ayahuasca, you're not creating chrism. Chrism is something that is cultivated through the alchemical process. And that the longer you cultivate that process in the body, the more you are able to access into higher dimensions and navigate them at the time of death. Okay, so you can't cheat yourself out of awakening, is what I want to tell you essentially. Okay. Can we intentionally jump vibrational timeline by vibrating a higher frequency? Yes, you can, my love. Yes, you can, but you need to believe. Okay. The number one reason why people can't actually do that is because they don't trust themselves and they don't believe in themselves. And that is, of course, the process of learning how to love yourself. So, self-love is not just a concept. It is the vortex, it is the Merkaba. Okay. Self-love is the activation of your light body. Okay. When your body comes into harmony with itself, mind, body, and soul, it begins to spin. So you will be able to navigate and you're going to remember. You're going to remember everything. You're going to do it consciously, lucidly in the physical and non-physical state. Now, if you create a timeline of happiness, but you don't love yourself deeply, you're just imagining something and you're not embodying it in the physical body. So remember, you can't cheat the body. The body has to match the vibrational frequency of the thought. So if you still have fear in you, but you have a happy face of being high vibration, you're not really being high vibration because your subconscious belief says, I'm not worthy, I'm not good. That work is very important. But, another thing that's really happening right now is that because we're accelerating in this evolutionary process, the process is becoming more instant. Okay, this is the wonderful thing about our current timeline, that this process of healing is easier. You're going to recognize and snap out of your dormant state into the present moment where you will find love and joy authentically because the healing process is speeding up. Okay, that's because we are entering into higher octave. So that's good news for everyone. Thank you for that question. Thank you, Laonika Yoli. The Ocean's Deep Woo, welcome. Samantha. Thank you. Ayla Kota, what is more effective, taking in emotions, the water in our body, or our cells? What is more effective? Taking in emotions. Oh, the water in our body or our cells? Well, the water is the carrier into the physical body. So here's the thing. More effective and long-standing and transformative is that you are deeply connected with your cells and intentionally embodying that high vibrational state. That's the most effective, right? That's the true long-term transformation. Your vortex is spinning, you're transmuting life force. The water is a carrier of energy that is an added bonus to your healing process. Okay, so you can utilize that. I do it with all my food that I eat, whatever it is, even if it's a piece of chocolate or a cookie or whatever, I infuse it with the life force, what I need in that moment, and I make it my medicine, and it always going to be nourishing me. We're so disconnected from ourselves. We're like watching TV when we're eating. We're not even sure what we're eating. We're not even connecting with the food. So that's disconnect. What you're eating is whatever is being transmitted, frequency through the television. Okay, just an example. That disconnect creates disharmony. Remember, everything that we're doing against nature is causing illness and disharmony within you. So yeah, so just focus on that. Simple. Yay, John. So great to see you. Wonderful to see you. Yeah, there's no announcement for these lives in the week, unfortunately. Hi, John. What does Bell's palsy represent? What kind of imbalances? Bell's palsy. Okay. So that's a deep neurological imbalance in the body. And There's many reasons for this, but I'm going to give you the metaphysical thing, okay, spiritual, multidimensional answer to it, and you can see if that works. Now, for deep illnesses like this, these kinds of illnesses usually have many layers to them that also include generational influence. Okay, so what does that mean? Depending on the age that the person activated this illness within them, that is the stage of development which the entire generation also embedded within their DNA. And what we need to do is access that point to heal the fragmentation that occurred. Anything that has to do with the nervous system completely, moving the body neurologically into these systems of imbalance, they need to be addressed at the core root, which has to do with the safety, which has to do with the balancing of the emotional body. It is a severe, severe violation of the emotional body. So it creates such a disconnect with the mind and body that it severs this connection neurologically to the physical body. So essentially a deep integration of the soul into the physical body, and we have to clean up the generations that have embedded this as well. So I usually see illnesses like this in people that have wars in their family, lots of army, military, people that have actually been in wars, or deep collective traumas like a war that strips people of their ability, their sovereignty, in order to feel safe in the body. Okay, so there are several imbalances there, but yeah, see if that helps. That can help integrate that. I heard that Pluto is entering Aquarius on the 23rd. Will this be the peak of the energy this month? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. We already experienced a little bit of the Pluto in Aquarius a couple weeks ago, and you will see how things progressed pretty quickly in our world. Okay, with having, with disclosure, with the wars, with little things coming up in the news about our companies. This will bring many hidden truths to the surface. That's what this time is about. And I'm not even referring to the astrology, but to the energy of this current time, the frequency of this time. Everything hidden comes out. So my invitation is, what are you hiding? This is why today's title of today is about coming into authenticity. We have been so stripped away from the ability and the education to learn how to come into our authenticity that we feel completely distorted from our natural essence. And this is one of the greatest violations of nature, which disconnect the man from the body, in which they become puppets, okay, manipulating, hurting, suffering. And so we want to ask ourselves, how do we enter less suffering? By coming into full authenticity. No fake emotions, no masks anymore. There's no more masks. It's so funny that the past years we're wearing so many masks, wearing masks for the pandemic, but now this is about demasking everything. Okay, it is a profound unmasking of everything that we have been hiding from ourselves. So this is why it will be turbulent for some, because some people are not ready for truth. People are afraid of truth, and that's one of the things we're going to work on this week in another day, is looking at our relationship with truth. Okay, so that's really, really a huge one. Yeah, those little pauses through my day to run a bit of energy have helped so much with my porous aura. I'm triggered much less than I used to be. I had CPTSD. Yeah, Lily, I'm so happy to hear that. That's amazing. Geraldine always delivers the essence, pure knowledge that can be applied. Thank you, John. Thank you for being here. Love you. I was thinking about anger. People should find excuses, not accuse the behavior of others. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. But the part that is accusing or judging is the part that fears that we also have that within us. So again, to change the world externally, we have to change internally. Okay, we cannot change anything outside. Does magnetite play a role in connecting to our higher self? Magnetite? Gosh, Cedric, I'm not sure I know what that is. Hold on. Magnetite. Let me look that up. I'm really bad with names. Iron oxide. Okay. I mean, yes, it can be a wonderful supportive crystal. All crystals have elements that enhance our field. They have their own magnetic field, so they can enhance if we learn how to use them. Okay, so magnetite's base core is iron oxide. Okay, we are also made up of these substances. So in order to enhance the flow of blood flow, of life nourishing through the body, can allow you to heal and magnetize and move the flow of that energy through the body. So that might be something that can assist. But I think you need to know how to use every crystal. You need to be very careful, especially this is a deep crystal. And what I mean by that is that um, powerful, darker toned elements have a lot of power, which have the power of absorption. Okay, so if we don't know how to use the crystals properly, they can also deplete energy. They're meant for healing, depleting something out of an energy field that doesn't belong. But this is one way that we can utilize that. So please learn how to do it. I am a big fan of being your own healer energetically. Samantha says, yesterday I was doing your meditation at the end and saw multiple images between my third eye within a few seconds. Can you tell what it was? Yeah, so anytime that you're meditating, guys, you're going to have lots of images coming up. I want you at first, the first month that you're doing this and you're getting the images, I want you to observe them. You're just going to observe them. You're going to learn how to regulate your nervous system. Okay, the second month that you're doing this and you're getting images, you're going to start working with them. You're going to start learning how to discern what information is there. But you need that first month foundationally to prepare, because otherwise your intuitive functions won't be in a place of neutrality and you won't have learned how to rest the body so that you can cultivate the ability to discern them. So the second is taking a look at those images. What are the images about? Are they memories? Are they abstract objects? Now, one of the things that some of you have an intuitive ability is to see the pictures in your field. And those pictures are essentially a manifestation of the energetic blockages that manifest into a form, usually archetypal form or symbol, that becomes a block in your multidimensional body. So what I want you to do is you're going to use your 7th and 8th chakra. You're going to light it on top of the object, and you're going to see if there's a contract. If it's a small contract, we want to dissolve that. If it's a big contract, you have some work there. You're going to still dissolve it, but you will understand what you need to do with it by the emotions that begin to arise. Look at the emotions that are triggered by that. It's an invitation to work with that information. Okay. Essentially, we want to clear all the pictures out of our body until we come into neutrality so that we can access higher levels of information, channeled information that is highest truth possible. We are like instruments that we have to fine tune, like a violin. Okay, I play the violin for 13 years. In order to tune a violin, you have to have a good ear, right? And that violin goes through heat, cold, it'll come out of balance, right? So you have to, like an instrument, you have to learn how to tune yourself into the highest vibrational frequency so that you can access higher octaves of information. Lower octaves of information are always connected to the physical plane. So there will be an emotional side effect, a response, a karmic exchange occurring. We want to access information that transcends that karmic cycle of duality. That's when you're embodying co-creation state. Okay, remember the levels of co-creation? The lower frequency you are, the more tied and entangled you become. So we want to fine tune it into that highest point. Okay. All right. Question. I make art as my profession. Lately, my work has changed. I don't care about the result. How do I stay inspired and motivated in everyday life and work? That's amazing. I completely have experienced this similar process, and I found it to be the most liberating and most creative process of my work. You have reached a point where you are channeling something, and the product of your information is more important than the aesthetic. And as an artist, we also grow, we evolve through our art form, to become fluid in that you become more of a channel each time. Your art life is also like a spiritual journey. The more that you deprogram yourself, the more you become 0 point, and the more your information that you're putting into your art also becomes a product of that, which is a higher level of communication. So number one is to trust yourself. Okay. And remember that your art form, there is something moving through you. Something moves through you. Allow it to flush out. Never try to restrict or control what needs to come out. That's really important. And the more you allow to come out, the more will come. So if somebody is having a trouble coming into that creativity state, we need to look at our programs with creativity, with creation. And where I would invite you to look is take a look at your birth process. How was it for you to be in your mother's womb? How was it to be born? Were we wanted? Were we accepted? Were we nourished? Was there a lot of disharmony when we came in? That was the beginning root of how we are going to create the rest of our lives as creators in anything, whether you're drawing something or whether you're manifesting something. And the invitation is that you heal and integrate the parts of you that have become fractalized from the inability to manifest and create. And pay close attention, especially as an artist, to your emotional process. What are the emotions that come up for you when you need to create? And that's the invitation. Remove and integrate and neutralize, alchemize all of the blockages that don't allow you to come into fluid channeled creation. And it'll take your art to a whole nother octave. Anytime we start to analyze in art, in trying to find a purpose, it can become stunted. And so yeah, that flow is incredibly important. How can we generate DMT in our bodies? So to generate DMT in the bodies, we want to learn how to become transducers of energy, which activate the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is the one that begins to create the DMT. Okay, this is the natural DMT. If you were a part of my alchemical transformation challenge, I explain it a little bit more there. So I kindly, I would advise that you check that one out. But just as a quick refresher, let me find this. Let me make sure that I'm showing this. Okay, so essentially, when you activate the pineal gland, you create. So the pineal gland is the one that creates melatonin. But essentially, this process of creating this chemical substance in the body creates DMT. It's the crystallization process of this information. Let me find another image because I have a better one somewhere. Yeah, so DMT is created. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm sorry, loves. I would have to look for my, it's going to take me a minute to find it. But essentially, we create that chemical in the brain. And what happens is that this essentially creates, are you guys seeing this? Okay. So this transducer, through the transduction process of alchemization, we create that crystallized form of liquid, which creates the DMT. Essentially, the utilization and the cultivation of the pineal gland is actually what allows us to navigate into the higher dimensions. It's DMT which creates these imaginary, quote unquote, imaginary, but scientifically they say imaginary imagery for you. Okay, but that is your higher faculty. That's DMT. When you produce DMT, you've activated your higher faculties. Okay, this is how you have ET contact, interdimensional contact. When you begin to access into higher dimensional planes, everywhere from the eighth into the infinite number of dimensions, it requires that DMT process. And so this can be naturally created in the body through meditation. Okay. You're absolutely right, Geraldine, about garbage music. Yep. People's minds where I work in the film productions that others play. Yeah, that's absolutely right, John. Justice is first in any person's mind. If all of us know justice, this will reflect outside. Yeah, justice is an interesting thing. And actually, justice, just like perceptions, can be very depending on the person. Okay, they can be subjective. And so, um, we have different morals. We grow up in different cultures. We have different religions, which influence us differently in how we make moral decisions, and we construct ideations around what is just and what is not. Okay. So, in order to not get confused with those overlays of the matrix indoctrination and programs, my advice is to take a look at nature, the laws of nature, as I mentioned earlier. When we align with nature, there is a natural crystallization, there's a natural order, there's the Fibonacci sequence of fractals, which are co-creating in nature in certain pattern formations, self-organized systems. And they inherently have an intelligence of higher order. That higher order is beyond the cycles of life and death. It utilizes both life and death duality in order to co-create, and it can co-create infinitely. So this is the model which I invite you to take a look at when you are looking at your concepts of justice, morality, and ethics, because what we know as morals currently with Matrix program is completely wrong. Okay, it is the inversion. And those of you that have dug deep into the subconscious minds and programs, you see it painfully clear. When you hear someone talking, when you watch something that's being said on TV that's happening in the world, you immediately can recognize the inversions of truth. And when you interact with one another, you can see when someone inverts truth, when they lie, or when they say something that is not 100% in alignment. You can really tune into that because it's an energetic frequency. It's a construct. It's a geometric expression. Okay. What do you know of Hydra vulgaris and the brain? Hydra vulgaris, I don't remember what this is, but I know I've read of it. Oh, like yeah, I don't know. I don't know about right now I'm too tired to think about, but I know that I have read about this Hydra vulgaris being a little um it's essentially it's DNA coded gold. The nanoparticles that I was talking about earlier is essentially what this is. But yeah, it's also it's a hydroid essentially that lives and embeds into the brain. But yeah, I don't know enough about that to talk to you about it, love. Diana, FT Gamer, PL, I don't care about this world in general. I think it's better. You can program yourself like what I do. Yeah, it's great to program yourself. Good job, Diana. How How do I contact you for a private session? I called the number on your business card, but didn't get a call back. Oh, the number on my business card goes to another number. Yes. Thank you so much, Smart Money Guy. You can access me at my website. You can book a session directly on the website. And let me go ahead and put that link for you below. I do want to let you all know that I am booked out for 5 months in advance. So please do plan ahead of time, because right now, yeah, we're kind of booked out, but I really look forward to working with you. Question. Can someone manipulating another's Kundalini blow chakras out, and can they be repaired if that happens? No, nobody can blow your chakra out. I'm not sure how that's possible. No, remember that the mind is the mastery over the body, okay? If you don't believe that somebody can do something to you, they will not do it. They will not do it. It doesn't matter if they think they can, okay? Because you are the master. Again, those transducers that I showed you, the process of the input into the physical body is both for physical and non-physical input. Because again, it's all vibrational frequency that's charged within those little pink cells that I showed you, okay? So people that talk about black magic, voodoos, spells on people's, uh, manipulations of people's energy, dark arts. Those are all true, but you have to be at a certain vibrational frequency to get them by the people that do them. And I want to tell you that there are very few people that really know how to do those things, those deep things, okay? But black magic and dark arts is practiced by any inversion of nature. So we actually create more black magic on ourselves by accepting those things, by letting go of our free will, by hating ourselves, by rejecting ourselves. That's black magic. That's the inversion of nature. Okay, if any of you have been familiar with, say, satanic texts, it's the inversion of nature. They write it so it sounds like some spiritual truth, but when you read carefully, there is an inversion there. And so we always have to be very mindful of identifying those inversions. In the same way, anytime someone tells you they have more power over you, that's an inversion of a truth, because you are the master of this physical body. And the moment that you realize that, boom, you heal yourself. Look at the story of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Look at the story of, what's that lady's name that she healed from cancer? I can't remember her name, but anyway, there's countless examples of people that spontaneously heal themselves when they get it. And I have done this for myself, for my body. I have healed myself spontaneously. I actually did an entire painting on it. But the moment that I recognized how I brought myself, even from death, I brought myself spontaneously through the awareness of the second version of my life. Why was I here again? Remembering my agreements for being here and what I'm supposed to do. Boom, back into the body. Boom, end of the illness. Okay. So we are working with our higher dimensional planes. We're not alone. Remember, you are an interdimensional complex of multi-cosmic information. And so your higher self manifest in an Arcturian, a being, whatever, your higher self that manifests to support healing for you from higher dimensions, is in agreement to pull forward your soul through this life experience. So as soon as you remember that, your body will heal and come back on track. It's just, again, it's like a radio station. If you turn the radio to the, white noise, you're going to get white noise. You turn it back into the music of that beautiful pitch of high vibrational frequency. Now you are clear crystal, and you're in that direction of that movement and co-creation. Okay, so that's really important for you to understand. Okay. Let's go ahead and start the meditation, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I see your questions. I'm going to answer them at the end, my loves. Okay. Let's get started. I want you to start by inhaling deeply. Thank you so much for joining me so late. I love you. And some of you, it's early morning as well. All right, as you take a nice deep breath, allow yourself to inhale deeply. And you're going to bring yourself down, connecting to the center of the earth, connecting to your body. I want you to bring yourself fully into your body now. Breathing deeply. Coming into absolute stillness. Okay. The more still you are, the more you allow wider bands of frequency to move through this body. So I want you to bring yourself into absolute stillness. Work with any muscle that wants to move, that will tell you where the information is for you. The muscles that are tense, the muscles that don't want to stay still, are the ones that are holding emotional data. So now that you know, just allow yourself to observe, acknowledge what's there, acknowledge the bodily sensations, and bring yourself into a state of neutrality. Breathing deeply to the base of the spine, making sure that you're belly breathing deeply, deeply into the base of the spine. Not forced, absolutely gentle. Okay, you're going to bring your tongue to the roof of your mouth, closing the circuit, opening the gateway of energies through the body. You're going to start by shrinking the first layer of your body. Closing the first chakra. Going up to your second chakra, go ahead and close that chakra down, shrink it down. That's what I mean. Shrink that second layer of your body down. Go up to your third layer of your body, go ahead and shrink it down to the size of a dime. Closer to your body. Belly breathing deep into the base of the spine, bringing full relaxation into the body, oxygenating the body all the way deeply into the cells, asking the body to wake up consciousness, to come into awareness. Go ahead and come into your heart. Go ahead and expand your heart chakra as wide as possible. Opening the center of unconditional love and coherence. Expand your throat. Fifth layer of your body, expand it bigger than this house. Go up into the third eye. Go ahead and expand your third eye chakra. Allowing yourself to come into a state of complete neutrality, complete calm, breathing deeply. Go ahead and activate the seventh and the eighth layer of your body. Expanding the seventh body. Expanding the eighth body. Coming into a state of complete relaxation, complete calm. Excellent, my loves. Breathing. Okay. So now that you're here, I want you to begin to review your day. We're going to start with this morning. As you look through your day, I want you to take a look at when you were inauthentic today. Okay. Anytime that we are inauthentic, we are going against the laws of nature. We create emotional data that it inverts and interrupts the flow of energy in the body. The body becomes confused and disconnected. So go ahead and begin to observe your day at any time in which we were inauthentic or contracting our energy in order to be approved, in order to be loved, to be accepted. Anytime that we denied ourselves our authenticity. Take a look at that. Immediately, as you go into the memories of these experiences, your body will begin to feel that tension. So go ahead and look at feel the body parts that are tense with that thought form. You're going to focus on that thought form and the sensation in the body. And as you acknowledge this sensation, I want you to acknowledge the emotions that are being contracted in that event. Some of you may have been fearful of another person's response or rejection or reaction. So just go ahead and look at yourself in those scenarios, at how you contract yourself when you are inauthentic. Look at your body language. Observe the way that you hold your eyes when you stare into someone else's eyes. Do your eyes deflect? That's pain body. That's the response of the pain body. When the eyes deflect eye contact in the action of the constriction of our expression and authenticity, we are literally disconnecting from our source in that moment. Those that can look at each other in the eyes and maintain the gaze and the connection have an open channel with source, okay? And I'm not talking about salespeople or manipulators, but I'm talking about when our eyes are not contracted, not controlled, in a state of absolute expansion, in relaxation, in the present moment, in the body. It is a sign of connection with your higher self, with the integration of your higher self. That's why they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Okay, so those of you that are able to have that deep, authentic connection with their self, you have no problem having eye contact with other people because you know yourself so well. And so that actually energetically is expressed through the eyes in a very powerful way. Go ahead and visualize yourself in those moments of contraction. And just allow the waves of emotions to be released as you acknowledge how you feel in those moments. Any time that you have been inauthentic or betrayed yourself or not true with your expressions in any way, it can be today, yesterday, this week. Just take yourself to the last time that you experienced this. And we're going to study this experience. So just take a look at any aspects of betrayal, anger that may arise. Many of you will feel betrayed with your own self at the thought that you have betrayed your own true expression or you've controlled it from being expressed. Anytime that you are angry towards yourself, take a look at that anger. Where does this anger come from? Is this anger that is deep rooted in our childhood? Is it ancestral anger? Is it an anger that we've been holding on to and adopting for many generations? And what is it that you're angry at? Is it the divine feminine or the divine masculine? Take a look at that. Many of you might find that you're angry at yourself. And as you begin to observe your own self and the anger that you feel towards self, or the strong emotion, whatever it might be that you feel towards yourself, sit with that emotion. As you acknowledge the emotions, letting any kind of heavy thought forms released. Breathing deeply into the base of the spine. I want you to now, you have a very good idea about the root program. Go ahead and identify what is your root program that you're running that facilitates you to enter into states of inauthenticity, of self-betrayal, of self-mistrust, of inalignment. What are some of the root core programs that you're running that allow you to enter into this state of betrayal? Go ahead and identify them. It can be 1, 2, it can be a whole list. It's okay. International Women's Day was yesterday. For a lot of women, culturally throughout the world, there's many programs of the suppression of the divine feminine for both men and women, actually. Okay, the suppression of men's feminine aspect and the expression of females' feminine is also suppressed. So this is a wonderful opportunity to observe, and let's remind ourselves, what is the feminine? The feminine is surrender. It is intuition. It is that higher guidance. It is truth. Okay. So anytime that we are not coming into our authenticity, or we're betraying the self, it is the action that is a result of that contracted feminine for both men and women. Okay. Now, from the masculine aspect, it is the concept of control. Okay. Anytime that we believe we are controlling an external experience, external reactions, external events, or internal events, this illusion of control is the inversion of the masculine. Okay, so let's go ahead and dissolve that program. Allow yourself to identify what emotion is at the root of these violations towards ourself, thoughts, emotions, actions, in which we are not authentically connecting to our true expression. That's what we want to identify. There are no emotions that are negative. Everything is cause and effect, and we have to understand how to process these emotions in their full expression, whatever they may be. That's why we're here on earth. So as you allow yourself to see this, there's a powerful liberation at the other side of this. Okay, so allow yourself to observe now the parts of you that feel these heavy emotions. We're going to create a vortex of violet light underneath your body. I want you to go ahead and pull this beautiful green energy up into the body, creating a vortex of energy. Okay. Allow that vortex of energy to rotate around the body, activating our lower vortex, or activating the Merkaba of the body. Okay, from source, go ahead and pull down a powerful wave of gold cosmic light coming down from source, combining with this earth energy. Go ahead and activate the upper vortex of your body. Breathing. Okay, you're going to create a channel of elimination. And the channel of elimination will go back down to the center of the earth. Now remember, the earth functions like a recycling mechanism, transforming death into life. So go ahead and let all of that, whatever's stuck in the body, out down to the center of the earth, bringing you into neutrality. Imagine all of the traumas, all of the times that you felt you betrayed yourself or that you felt inauthentic in your expression, either today, yesterday, or years ago, that you still hold on to as a pattern of defense. Allow yourself to release now those root programs that we are clinging on to as survival. And as you release that, the body will begin to question, oh, my frequency is changing because I'm holding on to this. What should I replace that with? Okay, so I want you to get the insights that come up as you release this information out of your body. And you're going to bring in source energy into the body. Allow your body to replenish itself with source as you fill the parts that you release this information from with white light. Okay. And that white light is unconditional love, unconditional trust. Remember, we are activating the part of our brain that allows us to maintain this unconditional trust, that septal nuclei, which works together with this hippocampus and amygdala, and of course the pineal gland. So allow yourself to begin to cultivate this self-trust by understanding how and what you need in order to embody that with yourself. Breathing deeply. Okay. You're going to go ahead and take 80% of that up your spine, out from the crown of your head. Go ahead and clear the upper layers of your body. So this is the heart, the throat, the third eye, the intuitive faculties, the heart coherence, and the communication, the expression of all of these layers of rooted programs of self-betrayal, self-contraction, okay? All the inauthentic expressions, vocalization. We don't speak our truth. Are we afraid to speak our truth? Are we afraid of truth? This is the biggest paralysis of man. Man is afraid of truth because a lot of truths force us to go into the unknown. And that is the nature of the human experience, to navigate the unknown. So as you eliminate those programs of fear of the unknown, you'll feel your expansion of your body, okay? Releasing tightness from every layer of your body. Okay, you're going to take that final 10%. I want you to bring it into the body now, absorbing it into the pores, into the flesh, into the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of the body, allowing the body to nourish and heal itself. I want you to feel acceptance. I want you to feel love. I want you to feel forgiveness. Many of you have resentment towards yourself or don't forgive yourself for any time where you haven't been authentic. And you feel like it was a severe betrayal of your own self-worth, your own trust, your own empowerment. So I want you to look at all the parts of you that need that forgiveness, and I want you to infuse them with that forgiveness. If you want to utilize color therapy, you can pick a color that represents forgiveness, okay? And I want you to absorb it into the body. I want you to remember, what color is forgiveness for you? Okay, I'm going to ask you to put it in the chat at the end of this meditation, not now, at the end. I want you to tell me, what is the color for forgiveness for you? Okay, so go ahead and put that color. I want you to fill your bubble with that color, and I want you to fill your body with that color. Okay, we are healing now ancestral archetypes of betrayal archetypes in the body. We're going to go ahead and navigate up into the higher dimensions. I want you to access all of the fractals of yourself interdimensionally, which allow this violation of the self, inability to have this authentic interactions interdimensionally. Go ahead and clear all of that cloudiness. Imagine you are clearing out cloudiness like cotton candy, or like garbage out of your space. Move that overlay program out of your space. Breathing deeply. Okay. Very good, very good. So what I want you to do is I want you to visualize that you are embracing yourself, and I want you to saturate yourself with love, with acceptance. I want you to see all of the fractals of yourself that you have healed, and I want you to infuse them with unconditional love, unconditional trust, unconditional acceptance. And as you see them healing, they're going to merge into one aspect in front of you. Go ahead and inhale deeply, taking that into your body, integrating it into the root, the sacral, solar, heart, throat, third eye. This aspect of yourself is like, you can say it's like a pill. It's a medicine. Okay. You are like a shaman. We talked about the medicine of a shaman. You are the shaman of yourself, and you have created a medicine for yourself. The medicine is your awareness, and you have created the elixir by understanding what you need and healing the parts of you that have been hurt. Okay. So as you visualize taking that part of you, it's like you're applying medicine into the root, into the sacral, the solar, and all the chakras that allow the body to readjust the vibrational frequency to take in this new understanding. So I just want you to allow yourself to take that in, feel the shift in frequency in your body. Notice your field expanding larger now. Okay. As you allow yourself to expand, go ahead and allow yourself to expand. I want you to go ahead and open that root chakra back into a balanced space. Go ahead and flush the root chakra, the sacral chakra back into a balanced state. Clear it out. The third layer of your body, clear it out. Make sure there's no holes in any of these layers. Okay. The fourth layer, clear it out. No holes. The fifth layer, clear it out. The sixth layer, clear it out. The seventh layer, clear it out. It should be pretty instant. Okay. So if you're taking too long, sometimes we're analyzing too much, we're getting stuck in the story, it should be pretty quick. Okay. And you're going to go up into your seventh and eighth. Go ahead and activate the eighth. Go ahead and fill your seventh with that color. As you fill your field with your creative color, the color of vibrational frequency, and you're going to see a room full of karmic contracts. I want you to dissolve those contracts, clear them out. Excellent. Clear them right out. 1, 2, 3, out completely. Okay. You're going to go ahead and see your ninth, activate the ninth, activate the 10th, activate the 11th, expanding. That means expanding. Expand the 12th, expand the 13th, the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, and 22. Okay, so as you see your 22 layers of your body around you, beautifully intact, beautifully whole, vibrant, solid. Okay, solid meaning no holes. Okay, you allow yourself to see your field expansive. I want you to come into a powerful feeling of love, and I want you to infuse this physical body with love. Okay, infuse this body with love. I want you to imagine that you fell in love with yourself. You know, that feeling that you just want to be there with this body, nourishing, taking care deeply of this beautiful ecosystem of consciousness and co-creation. So go ahead and visualize connecting and nourishing this garden of consciousness with source. Okay. Very good. As you bring yourself back into the room, I want you to come into a state of joy. Go ahead and allow yourself to come into joy. It's a heart-centered joy that you are able to access now. When we completely transmute those deep feelings of resentment, anger, frustration, inauthenticity, true joy can emerge. True joy. So anytime we're inauthentic with ourselves, we sever our ability to come into joy. Okay, because the body knows. You might rationalize and logically tell yourself you're okay, but the body wisdom is much wiser than the analytical mind. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. It was an honor to be here with you. You guys are phenomenal. I love you so much. And let me just see. I think there was a couple little final questions that I may have missed. Do fluoride or inactivity reduce functioning of the pineal gland? Yes, absolutely. That's why we talk about decalcifying the pineal gland. Okay. And I did show an image of that earlier. The calcification process of the pineal gland inhibits the ability for crystals to crystallize through the what is it called? The transmutation process. Okay. So when we transmute, we create a transducer of energy here, which allows us to create that chrism. But with the calcification of this, it's going to be in dormant. It's in dormant state. Okay. So when we wake that up, it becomes this ability to project a higher frequency for us. So absolutely important to not drink fluoride water. But again, mind over matter. Most important is that you're exercising your energy systems and runways. Okay. Christine, love you, Geraldine. Thanks for the help. You gave me some comforting on advice on SOR, and you were right. Wow, Christine, thank you so much. I'm happy to hear that. Geraldine, do you do past life regression hypnosis? Yes, I do. Really happy to host for you. So go ahead and connect with me if you'd like to check out some of your past lives. Integrate, heal. It's a very powerful session. It's very wonderful experience. So you can go ahead and book that on my website. And Smart Money Guy, how do I figure out which private session I really need? Okay, so this is how I tell people to identify what you need. Let me go to my website really quickly. DNA programming is a really heavy session, okay? It's very deep, it's very profound. When you have deep blockages in your life that you cannot dissolve on your own, that you're stuck, you can't access, I advise DNA reprogramming, because DNA reprogramming allows you to access the root programs and transmute them just the way that we do here in these calls. Okay, but it's one-on-one and we talk about your reasons for them. So, obviously it's customized to your experience, and it can be very enlightening and very healing. And the whole point is to bring you from that state of program into the 0 point back into source embodiment. Okay, so if you have blockages that you need to remove, if you are confused, if you feel lost, if you feel disconnected in some way, DNA reprogramming is the one for you. Okay, now hypnotherapy is a very deep healing modality, and I can do hypnotherapy for many different things. It can be anything from stopping smoking, learning how to eat better, any kind of habits that you're trying to change. Hypnotherapy is amazing. Healing the body, pain reduction, pain control, pain management, and past life regressions, of course, which are powerful because we wake up the memory cells in the body that allow us to access into the higher dimensions, and you can reintegrate your fractals. Okay, past life regression is really powerful when you're trying to access memories, the cellular memory of who you are. So if you feel like you've done a lot of healing work in this lifetime and you need access into these past lives, or you're stuck in your healing in this lifetime, you need access to past lives, this is a great way to do it. Okay, and I explained that process a little bit in other videos, but essentially you will be able to dissolve whatever you're dealing with here by accessing these higher dimensions as well. Okay, so yeah, so hypnotherapy also for interdimensional integration is what I call people that have experiences, interdimensional experiences, and they need to understand their role, heal from those interdimensional experiences. I advise this kind of hypnotherapy. I don't practice QHHT. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, but I'm also a medical intuitive I do pranic, advanced healing, and qigong. So my hypnotherapy is completely different in terms of it is utilizing different kinds of energy modalities. And when you're healing in your body and you're scanning your body for healing, because some people come for healing, we work energetically with your higher dimensions to bring the vibrational frequency patterns that you need to reprogram your DNA in the hypnotherapy. And that creates long lasting change for you. Okay. So there's many, many ways that I utilize hypnotherapy. And my favorite and most important part of every single session is the reconnection with the higher self. Okay. In hypnotherapy, we connect you with the higher self. People that have a hard time meditating, I advise you to do DNA reprogramming first and then do a hypnotherapy. But most people can access their higher self pretty quickly, pretty accurately, and begin to channel information. Okay, so it's a really powerful session. Go ahead and see Smart Money Guy. I hope that helped in defining for you what you need and gave you more information. Okay. All right, Lily, thank you so much. Darina, thank you. Diana, FT Gamer, thank you so much. I never feel anger because I don't like it. I don't like to be a volcano. No advantage to it. That's right. As long as you're transmuting that anger, my love. In America, you have this. Freud must listen to you, or you cannot give problems to others. It's a reptilian program. We need someone to listen, not only Freud. Yes. Yes, of course. It's always good to have support in your healing process, my love, and to get clear about how to navigate them. Isla, soft yellow was my color. Yes. Vicky, pink and gold was my color. Awesome. Jane Patterson, beautiful. Thank you. Violet was my color. Borax, boron to decalcify. Thank you, Heart Traveler. Marielena, thank you so much. Amazing as usual. Thank you, Fidel. Saw the color yellow for the stage 8 for some reason. Wow, amazing. Here's a class that we're also going to do. Colors. What do the colors mean? What are those vibrational frequencies? We'll do that one of these days because I think that's going to be really helpful. Light pink was my color for forgiveness and great meditation. Thank you. Thank you, Jaden. Tuning in from DC. Hello, Celeste, Rose, Alchema. So great to see you. How long is this challenge going to last? I'm going to try to do it before my conference at Biomed Expo, which is on the 21st. So, by the way, if you guys are in LA and want to come check me out, I'm going to be speaking the 21st to the wait, what day am I speaking? Oh, well, I'm speaking on Saturday. Okay, Saturday and Friday. I have 2 lectures. Friday is not 100% confirmed, but Saturday is. That's my main lecture. So go ahead and join me. It would be a pleasure to meet you guys in person, hang out with you at the Biomed Expo. Love you and thank you so much for joining us. Do you hear a lot of people experiencing trauma and shock after what we've experienced in the last 3 years? Yes, I do. And I thought it was going to be worse in terms of the general public that what didn't have any preparation beforehand, okay, or spiritual connection, in other words. But I am pleasantly surprised, and I held space for this, that it was a transmutational event. It was a world globally transmuting event. People really woke up, you know. So to me, it was one of the most amazing experiences that I'm so honored to have participated in the past 3 years. You know, a lot of people woke up, and we're going to continue going through these phases of waking up. This is why I'm here doing what I'm doing, to make this process as comforting and as intuitive as possible. So those that people have been doing more healings than ever. They have been seeking out meditation, support, higher self. I can talk to almost anyone here in the Bay Area where I am about this stuff, and they are in alignment in some level. They understand something about it. So I think that we interdimensionally went up. Geraldine, do you do past life readings? So in terms of readings, I am not a person that will do psychic readings. My job is to activate your multidimensional body so you can be the psychic and you can do the work. So my healings are very much a healing, but also a training, because my job is to instruct the human into their alchemical higher expansion. So rather than doing it for you, I am not a fan of psychics or mediums, in a sense that I want you to be your source of information and I want you to trust it. So Celeste Rose, about your question about the four thingies. Um, Here's what's happening, okay? Again, reptilian energy is primal energy. It's survival energy. So the fact that you see that is relevant for the root of what drew that person to that decision, okay? And so what's happened over the past few years has really highlighted the primal parts of us. Those of us that haven't worked on our primal survival stage have really been, taken out of balance during this time. That's exactly what I was saying. But those that have done the work have really changed. Okay. So we all have reptilian DNA. It's embedded in our architecture of our body. Doesn't matter who you are. It is embedded in your DNA. It is in the architecture of this body. Now, if you alchemize that, okay, you have the access to all dimensions, higher and lower. That is the white light. White is all colors. There's no pushing aside the dark or the white. So when we're in survival mode, that part of our DNA is activated. So all the survival, most primal aspects of ourselves. Be everything you want to be. Orange, excellent. Heart Traveler, purple and green. Scrivani Productions, I have had an inner ear clog. I've not been able to, I have had an inner clog, been able to heal. What might this body part be connected to? So that's listening to your own truth, acknowledging your own truth, listening to your own truth, um, trusting in your own intuition and your inner guidance, more importantly. Okay. So have you been ignoring the messages that come into you? Because basically the part of the body says, well, I'm not being utilized. Why am I even functioning? So this is the wake up call. Can we connect more to the physical body and listen? Geraldine, I have booked for a session, but the schedule is only in May. Is there a chance to get it early? If there is, my darling Fidel, I am so booked every single day. And with these weathers, I mean, we are in a terrible storm. I don't know if you guys can hear right now. The internet has been so hard. So unfortunately, we are booked till May solid. But I do have a waiting list, and it is a long waiting list. But if that waiting list, we can put you on right to Becky. Becky is my assistant. We can put you on the waiting list, okay? But right now we are pretty booked, so I want you to hold on to that date. Don't reschedule it. And May is right around the corner. Okay, I love you, and I can't wait to work with you. I'm so excited to work with you. Awesome, Bert. Tomorrow's my first session. I'm so excited. Can't wait to work with you, Bert. We love you, Geraldine. Love you too. I'm struggling with all the fast changes. I'm in DC, not sure who I speak and trust freely. It's very heavy here. I'm moving to Arizona. Celeste, I understand completely what you're going through. But remember that wherever we are the beacon of light. So please anchor yourself in your truth. Don't mistrust yourself. This is the test of self-trust. When we have resistance from the external, we have to, or judgment, we have to just focus on that trust and take that time to strengthen our cultivation. Okay. So all sessions are virtual through Zoom. There are no in-person sessions at this time because of a heavy travel schedule. So guys, this was a almost 2-hour session. Wow. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing, and I can't wait to see you soon. Tomorrow we won't have a live, but I will make one on Saturday. So I will see you Saturday and Sunday for Self-Love Sunday. Love you and see you soon. Bye-bye. Love you. Love you so much.